Ladies, welcome to week 5, Queen's Ransom on the Fantasy Football Advice Network. How are we doing, Janae, Fantasy Football Blondie?
Hello.
How's your week going? How are your fantasy football teams? That's what we should really ask.
Well, at least my quarterback played this week, so that's good.
That is a plus. So this week, I think we're going to dive in a little bit on quarterbacks, right? We've got some issues moving around the league. We've got top 5 quarterbacks last year who are really not performing whatsoever. And is it time to drop? I'm not sure. I think this is a question that we need to ask the viewers. We need to ask our ladies here in the chat. Let's discuss. Let's go into, so this week it's Fantasy Football Blondie and I are playing each other, and I'm a little concerned because she hasn't set her lineup yet, and I'm okay with that because it makes me question which direction she's going to go. So we're gonna jump into that first, and then we'll discuss quarterbacks because we've got 2 pretty good quarterbacks playing each other, which is surprising because one of them is the rookie. So I'm gonna share this screen if it lets me. All right. Here we go. Okay. So, Blondie, you drafted Josh Allen. That must have been a win-win, right?
Oh, major win. And a lot of people were, talking crap because I drafted him pretty early on, but Josh Allen is very consistent, solid, great team. So I was very confident with that pick.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the quarterbacks that we're discussing on dropping who should be top 5 quarterbacks. Josh Allen has 1,048 yards, 9 touchdowns. He has 4 interceptions. But you got to think if you're throwing the ball more, you're bound to have more interceptions, right? Like that's just a part of the process, I feel like. And then he has 2 rushing touchdowns of his own. So you seem to be doing pretty well there. And then for me here, I decided to pick up CJ Stroud. I'm not doing well. And this goes into our quarterback talk for later. Trevor Lawrence, I had to put him on my bench. I'm concerned. Especially it would be battle of the quarterbacks for us both, though, if I threw them in there and then they played each other. But I don't know if I want to mess with Buffalo's defense.
Yeah, so. I have Trevor Lawrence in one of my other leagues, and yeah, he's definitely getting benched. I actually picked up Stroud in my other league as well, and I'm starting him. Trevor Lawrence he has not been doing well. Zay Jones is out. He's one of his top wide receivers. I just don't trust him right now. I mean, last week he had 207 passing yards with a passing TD, and 8 rushing attempts, but I'm not wowed by him yet.
I agree. Janae, do you have any shares of Trevor Lawrence anywhere?
Do I know?
Nah. Yeah, did you feel it? Did you realize? Did you feel it before the season started, or what?
Yeah, I don't trust him. He's not consistent, and unfortunately,
I think it's a young team situation. With the coaching, the new coaching, I think they went through a lot last year. And so hopefully, they step their game up. We have a pretty short bench in this league. Since we're here to discuss Queen's Ransom, we have a pretty short bench and we don't have the opportunity of placing out players on IR. So, it's just one of those things where we've got to make the decision to either keep or drop. And, I'm holding up a bench spot with a quarterback that might not perform for me this year. So I don't know, but I think you might have me taken out this year. We've got Houston playing Atlanta for CJ Stroud. Atlanta's defense looks pretty good. And then we've got Josh Allen playing Jacksonville. I'm pretty sure they're playing in London.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about that, Blondie? How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I really don't like the London games. It throws everyone's time off. I'm not really feeling great about it. But then again, it is Josh Allen. So if it was anyone, I would feel
just play London?
Huh?
Say that again, Janae?
Didn't Jacksonville just play in England last week?
They did. They've stayed there all week. So they're actually acclimated and ready to play. Yeah, huge advantage. I actually told Wishlist, again, our founder, one of our favorite people, I told him that, we discussed it last week that Jacksonville has experience in London.
Yeah.
They've been there for the past couple of years. They know what they're doing. They've got the schedule down to a system. So now I'm a little concerned for the Bills. So let's move on to, so that's one of our quarterback issues. Let's move on to, let's see if we have we don't need Jared Goff and Jalen Hurts. We already know that they're going to do all right. So Joe Burrow has definitely been a question mark, right, for our quarterback play. We have Joe Burrow's got 728 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. How do you guys feel about that?
Yeah, again, for me, I'm not wowed by him. Him and Trevor Lawrence are just in a rut. No guarantee. Like, I mean, I do think he's a great quarterback. I think he's in a rut right now. And if you look at his last year's performance as well, he got off to a slow start. So I don't know. For now, I think I would bench him. It also just depends on who else you have on the bench. But
Well, that team has Geno Smith on the bench, so
yeah, there we go.
he's on bye.
Yep. So
then
That's
again,
probably going to be Tua.
yeah. I was gonna say though, like Joe Burrow is playing Arizona, and that matchup, the Cardinals have not been that great this year. So
They have not.
Yeah, I think they. Oh, go ahead, Janae. Sorry.
No.
I was gonna say, I think Arizona. So their offense is playing well. Their defense is slightly questionable. I think that there's an opportunity for them here with the Bengals being a little beat up, and I think Joe Burrow is trying to work through some calf pain. When I think that when somebody's hurt, I think it's beneficial to you to take a couple games rest instead of trying to manipulate what's really happening, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, again, we're women, and I think men feel differently about that situation than we do. All right, so this moves us in. Let's real quick, just because we're already here, let's jump into TDs and tight ends, right? Our reigning champs are 4-0. They are the only 4-0 team in the league this year, thus far. And so man, they know how to draft. They know how to play. This is not a fluke. I thought it was. Let's talk about Josh Jacobs, though. Let's talk about your team, Blondie. We've got Josh Jacobs running into a 27-point game. How do you feel about him moving forward?
yeah, I mean, I think he's pretty solid. He's been solid last year. He's in a little hiccup. I know he's only on a 1-year contract with the Raiders, so he does need to prove himself. But I don't know. Raiders aren't looking too good this year. Even though they're my team, I think there's a lot of things they need to continue to work on. But as long as the O-line can stay strong and improve, I think Josh Jacobs will definitely look good moving forward.
Yeah, I'm hoping that this isn't a fluke either. Jenny, do you have any shares of Josh Jacobs anywhere, or is that somebody that you looked to draft and just wasn't able to get a hold of?
Oh, I always look to draft him. He never disappoints. I mean, it took him a second to find his groove this season, but I think now that he's there, he's just going to continue to go. Even if, he doesn't have a solid QB, if they're not throwing it, it doesn't really affect him. Then he yeah.
That part, right? And I think that shows what we had questionable quarterback play, right, with the Raiders this week. And I know they were going up against the Chargers, which is a huge rivalry. And there was so many of the Raiders Chargers group that I'm like either follow or I'm friends with. And it's funny because I tried to actually win Raiders tickets to a suite. And it would have been funny. I would have been the only Bear fan in the middle of a sea of Raiders. And then one of the Chargers fans told me that it would have been one less Raiders fan. So that's good.
Wow. That's funny.
I know. I was like, oh. But it seemed like everybody had a good time at SoFi. I think SoFi really does bring people together. I never thought that a stadium so large and just how massive it is could actually bring people together the way that it has been. So that's pretty cool. Okay, so let's move on. Let's stay on quarterbacks for a second, and then let's go. Janae, who are you? You're up against Kiki this week, and it looks like we got an even matchup here. We've got 50% according to Sleeper. We know that doesn't usually mean much. Richardson. So how do you feel about him coming in to play Tennessee's run defense, and what are your thoughts against Jackson?
After last week, I'm super excited. When he was hurt, obviously, I was bummed that I didn't realize he wasn't playing and forgot to put a quarterback in. But honestly, the way that he performed last week to come back from a deficit like that, and almost win, he looked good. I mean, obviously, it was just the Rams, and Tennessee is going to be a totally different ball game. But no, I have all the confidence in him. Especially
so let's look at what he's got going for the season so far. So we have 72 attempts, 41 completions. So we're a little over 500, so that's good. 470 yards, 3 touchdowns, and he's got 4 rushing touchdowns. So that's our next Lamar, right? So we've got mini Lamar playing big Lamar in this week's matchup.
Analogy, love that.
I know, we got little Lamar and big Lamar. I love it. All right, let's get it. So moving forward with you guys you're evenly aligned here. We got Nico Collins, who had a blowout week last week.
Yeah, he was. Oops.
No, you're good. Speak up, because it was a monster performance from him. And the Texans are really trying to do their thing. Sorry, I'm losing players here. Here we go. So we have, let's see, last week. Yeah, you can tell that they've upped his percentage of being on the field and being a part of the snaps. So 9 targets, he caught 7 of them versus like week 1, right, where he had 11 targets and only caught 6. So it seems like quarterback play obviously is getting better. Still no interceptions, which is great, again, because we know CJ Stroud. And then 2 touchdowns. So hopefully we can get 2 tutties from him again this week, right?
Always.
Yeah, it does seem like he's definitely wide receiver 1 right now for Houston, so it's leaning that way.
Let's get it. Okay. And then we'll go in and dig into, all right. So I think a big conversation has been Moss, right? So you have Richardson. So I'm sure you watch Moss play just because Richardson's one of your quarterbacks. Does Moss have the potential to be like a top 15 running back this year? Does anybody have any like shares of him? Does anybody?
I don't know about this year. I mean, he definitely could prove himself, especially after week 2 and 3. But he could just all of a sudden get really quiet, But that might also be the position that the team puts him in,
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, we got Albert in the house. He's always first and foremost to check in and say hello. Albert, if you have any sit-em, start-em questions, throw them at us, because we're ready to be challenged, sir. And thank you for joining us. If you guys notice, Albert will join us every week, every chance that he gets. I love him to death. I want to meet him in person and buy him dinner. So Blondie, do you have any shares of Zach Moss anywhere?
I do not. I don't have Zach Moss, but my opinion on him, I still think it's a little too early to tell if he's going to be ending up in the top 10 running backs this year. I will say he's no Jonathan Taylor, right? Like I love Jonathan Taylor. I might be a little biased. I did have Jonathan Taylor last year and the year before, and he's just such a great running back, and it's hard to see like what we can say about this guy. It's just too early on for me.
Yeah, I agree. And Jonathan Taylor, have you guys heard the news? So obviously we've heard all the trade rumors. They're out there seeking. I think there's people that are really in deep trade talks, but I'm really concerned with the Colts owner. I think that he is a little unpredictable. And if he hears the wrong thing from the wrong person, he just might ixnay the trade in general and then sabotage Jonathan Taylor's career. That's just my personal conspiracy theory. I don't know about you guys. Do you have any information?
I like to hear conspiracy theories.
I was like, I'm not going to put race on it, but there's times where I'm just concerned. But
I do think if that does come about, like if he does get traded or he goes somewhere else, then Zach Moss is definitely, that's the answer. He will be the RB1 there, and he'll have more security in terms of fantasy security for all of us. So, but again, I still think we need to wait. We need to be patient and see what happens there.
Okay, absolutely. And then with that, so we're talking about running backs. Let's go into Denver, right? We have Javonte Williams, and so we're real quick. We're just gonna jump back. We're gonna jump back to me because I did the Breece Hall and the Javonte Williams back to back. I'm pretty sure in the draft, and here I am now having to pick up McLaughlin. I think he's gonna be a 1-week wonder, and I think Javonte's gonna have some issues moving forward. He looks like they were working him too hard. Now, when it comes to waiver wire pickups, ladies, I want to know your opinions and thoughts on this. Do you think that, obviously we think that like Jerome Ford, right? He was like the waiver wire pickup of the year. Like that's only going to happen once a year. McLaughlin, with Javonte Williams being hurt last year and now hurt again, do you think McLaughlin has the potential to be the RB1 on a team that has P. Ryan?
With Russell Wilson, that's a tough one, especially with Sean Payton as a coach. I don't think so. That's
okay.
That's
no, I'm with you. I realized he's going to be a 1 week wonder for me. It's like that one hit wonder.
That's all you need. Sometimes you just need that one.
And Blondie, for you, I feel like you're, like you said, you can win leagues on the waiver wire.
Yes.
What were your thoughts? Did you guys play the waiver last night?
I did not play the waivers because I feel like I'm sitting pretty right now. I got Puka off the waiver a few weeks ago, as you know. I don't know. I feel like I'm sitting pretty, so I don't need to play the waivers right now. I do think eventually, like I said last week or the week before, you can win leagues off waiver wires just by being smart. But I think for now, I'm doing okay. So no waivers for me this week.
I agree. You are looking good, and you have Watson hanging out on your bench, so he's definitely somebody you can pull up. Dylan's obviously not looking as pretty as we'd like. And Kirk Cousins, how are you with that, right?
Yeah, I do think eventually AJ Dillon's going to go bye-bye off my bench, but I'm just waiting for the right move. Yeah, I was actually pretty shocked. Side thing, I was actually pretty shocked. AJ Dillon, I expected a lot more out of him this year, but yeah, he's just not.
I did too, and I don't know if it's because of the new quarterback play. Coaching's got, they're really working in some of those quarterback design runs, and I think that they're pulling a little from the Aaron Rodgers era, and they're also having to play call for Watson, which is not something they necessarily had to do before. They haven't had to do it for years because Rodgers he makes his own calls, right? So yeah, so I think that's something to do with it. It's interesting though that he didn't perform well with Jones on the bench, like Jones hurt. That was really interesting to me too.
Yeah, that was the biggest shock to me. I thought he would step up, but no.
And then so moving on, let's jump into tight end. So Janae, we've got Dallas Goedert, right? I have him in several places. How comfortable are you feeling with Goddard's usage? Right now, last week we see 4 targets, 2 receptions. So obviously 2 were missed. I did not watch that game in depth, so I'm not sure exactly how those are the context of those drops. But how are you feeling with him moving forward in the next matchup? We have the Rams.
I'm actually not happy about him at all. I thought I was when I drafted him, but I'm looking at Kmet right now. That's a great pickup, so I might even do that. I'm gonna get off here. But unfortunately, Philly's just not utilizing him because they don't need to. I was like, their other receivers are doing just fine, and so if they're like, hey, we don't have a Travis Kelce or Mark Andrews, so we're not going to pretend like we do.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I love that take on that. And then, I can't wait to see your guys' matchup this week. That's going to be great. Blondie, I hate that I'm playing you because I feel like you're just going to bottle rock me out of this world because it looks green now, but we know how that goes.
Hey, well, we'll see how it goes. But I mean, I feel like you have an advantage because Rachaad White is on a bye, so I'll have to figure that situation out. I'm not too happy about that because I don't really want to play Justice Hill. I know Gus Edwards in the mix now, and the whole Ravens running back situation is just a mess right now.
And I think that's why Jonathan Taylor would be a great add to the Ravens. I really do. I think that would be a great position for him and a great placement but they don't usually. So the thing about the Ravens though is they don't usually step outside their box and spend that kind of cap money on running backs or in general, right? They're very strategic about how they draft. They're very strategic about how they pick up players. And I just don't see them doing it from a business perspective, but I think it would be a really smart thing, right? Get risky, like no risky, no biscuit, right? Like,
no, I think that's a great take. I 100% agree with you there. I do think that would be awesome, but like you said, they're not very risky. They tend to play it safe with their money and who they pick up and stuff like that. So.
All right. Well, ladies, let's take a look real quick. We're going to take a look at the standings, and we have so touchdowns and tight ends. We have 4-0. The points for 518, so they're a little bit below Stepmom Lauren, right? Who's 3-1. We've had some weird points happening. Like for me, I think I barely won as well. Yeah, I'm like 365 here down at the bottom of the totem pole.
Hey, it's not too late.
It's never too late. And then here's the thing. So you're at 547, right? So you're right. So you have more points than TDs and tight ends. And you're right below Stepmom Lauren, but yet, there's one loss, right? So this is where we really start to prevail. I think in the NFL and in fantasy leagues, it's never too late to come and be on top. It's never too late to make transactions. And so this is my call out to all of you ladies, including you two. Trades. Let's try it this year. So how are you two feeling? And we'll wrap it up. How are you two feeling about this week? About your matchups?
Go ahead, Blondie.
Yeah, I feel pretty good. The only thing I'm not really confident yet is what I'm gonna do with that RB situation. Like I said, Rachaad White is on a bye, and Justice Hill, I don't trust it. I mean, yeah, I need to figure that situation out. So I might have to go to the waivers, but we'll see. I mean, I do have Christian Watson, so that's another option. But if one player doesn't do as well, if he gets like 5 points, other players can kind of combat him for his sucky playness, I should say. As the other week, literally the Cowboys defense won me that week. So anything is possible.
Absolutely. All right, Janae, how are you feeling about your matchup this week?
I feel pretty good. I think I'm even going to just keep my team with no kicker because I don't want to drop anybody to pick up a kicker.
Who do you have? I didn't even look.
I have Dicker. Dicker the kicker.
Dicker the kicker. So it looks like you have an empty bench spot, though. What's happening? What do you mean?
That's just because I have someone in injury reserve that needs to be moved to the bench.
Ah, yes. My favorite thing to do before waivers. Also, just be aware. I'm going to throw this out to everybody, anybody that might watch down the road. I stream kickers, and I've said this since the beginning. I stream kickers in every league. This year, I've actually hung on to Brandon Aubrey pretty well. I'm pretty sure I have him now. Let's see. Do I have him in this league? I do. So I ended up keeping Aubrey in this league. Luckily, I snatched him up. But I stream kickers and defenses almost in every single league, depending on the matchup. So just be aware that you can look up matchups. And if you have any questions, you can hit up, where? The Fantasy Football Advice Network. It's an app, right? You go to your App Store, your Google Play Store. It's all fantasy football all the time. You don't have to worry about ads. You don't have to worry about motivational posts in between everything that you're looking for, or T-Swift. You don't have to see any of that nonsense.
No TT.
As my man says in the background. So go to Fantasy Football Advice Network. It's an app. It's a long FFAN for short. Fan is how I like to say it. And you can find all the information you need, or you can actually literally message us on Instagram, X, Twitter, whatever, right? Fantasy Football Wish List is here for you. I mean, we literally have so many resources that I can't even name them all right now, and I'm actually tired of talking. So thanks for everybody tuning in. Ladies, I can't thank you enough for joining me on these, and I am so grateful to have met new friends. I hope to get to see you in Arizona, Blondie, and then you in Orange County, Janae. And that's all for us tonight, you guys. All right. Catch you later.
Bye.